Dear friends, dear colleagues, discussion as opposed to confrontation through a Martin Luther King speech. We're going to talk about this today, how to implement these kind of communication skills in our sessions. For two main reasons. I deeply, deeply care about this because I know that it's going to really help our students in their personal lives and in their professional lives. And given the current state of affairs in the world nowadays, I truly believe that we, working in education, need to make this impact on the world today and on future generations. I'm sure you've noticed how easy it is to agree, to relate to people who share our opinions, our beliefs, our values. It's equally as easy to confront the ones that don't. Does that lead to the best results, though? In our personal lives, in our professional lives, and in society? I don't think so. I'm going to show you how with a few activities that you can download. They're all in PDF format. I'll put them in comments of this video. I'm going to show you how in my sessions, starting just from Martin Luther King's speech, I push my students to think about steps in discussion that are more than just logical. Why? To relate to the audience, to lead to discussion as opposed to confrontation. It all starts with a brilliant speech from Martin Luther King. I want to read it to you right now. Again, you can download the activity. Martin Luther King. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note promised that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. So, we have come to cash this check. A check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is not time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Now is the time to make real promises. I love the speech. It's brilliant. Now, I used this speech actually this morning as well. It's not the first time. I've done this a lot. I love it. What is the main message of Martin Luther King in this speech? The black community is not treated equally. That's the main message. It's a harsh one, especially given the context, the historical context, the time in which this speech was given. It's not an easy message to hear. And yet, Martin Luther King delivers it brilliantly. How? Not by directly hammering home his message. He does not go for a direct confrontation. This speech is not a confrontation. It's the beginning of a discussion. He's opening the door to a discussion because he is interested in concrete steps that can lead us forward. How does he do that? Well, first and foremost, Martin Luther King relates to his audience. How did he start his speech? The architects of our republic, the magnificent words of the Constitution, Declaration of Independence. He's glorifying the architects, this document. And this is something to which all Americans can relate to. This is a very strong sentiment to Americans. The Founding Fathers, the Constitution, they're still brought up today in very heated, very strong arguments. First and foremost, Martin Luther King glorifies them to relate to his audience, to say, hey, we're the same. We are the same. Relate to your audience. 2, he then speaks to the identity of the audience. What does he do? He talks of rights of life, of liberty, pursuit of happiness. This is very strong American identity. These are things that all Americans feel close to. And he does all this before stating his clear message. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. He then hammers home his message. No compromise. We refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt, to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vault of opportunity of this nation. We have come to cash this check. He hammers home his message, no compromise needed, and he actually uses imagery, capitalist imagery. He's very careful to still speak to the identity of his audience. He does not want to be put in a corner, to be called a socialist, because to the American identity, that's wrong. He uses capitalist imagery, and that perfectly works to hammer home his message without needing to compromise. This to me is a brilliant example of discussion versus confrontation. Discussion as opposed to confrontation. Following this speech, you want to discuss the issue with Martin Luther King rather than confront him, because he has related to the audience. He has spoken to the identity of his audience before hammering home his message. I really love taking a look at this speech of Martin Luther King with my students. In these sessions, we lead to the simple 3-step strategy. Relate, speak to the identity of the students, and hammer home. No compromise needed. It is more than just about the logical aspect of your arguments. It is about the emotional connection that you make, the bond that you make with the person you're discussing the issue with. You can download, again, the speech and the activities that Tom and I have published are right there in PDF. You can download them. I've also included 2 more activities that I love doing with in my sessions to follow up with this. One is called Speaking with Children. The whole idea is that the students are each going to play a guardian or a teacher, and they want to deliver a certain message to the students. Things like eat healthy food, don't bully, look for passions in life. But the whole goal of the activity is not to sound like, the condescending adult. Maybe you might remember that as well from childhood. I do. Trying to just, do this, don't do that. No. Students are going to work hard on relating to their audience, the kids. So I usually roll a die to determine how old they are, whether they're preschoolers, kids, tweens, teens, relating to the audience, speaking to their identity, so that the message is just obvious. the kids come naturally to the conclusion that yes, bullying is bad. Yes, we should eat healthy food. The second activity, I also love it, is called Word of the Year. We give our students made-up words. They're completely fake. I mean, this morning we did Zinden, Biao, and there was another one, I don't remember. Zinden, Biao, for sure. Hilarious. Each student is going to get a fake word, a made-up word. So you see already, the logical part of the argumentation now is moot. You need to focus on relating to the audience and speaking to their identity to really put your point across. So the word, for example, Zinden Biao, the student is perfectly in their right to make up any definition they like. The word itself can be a verb, adjective, noun, anything, really. An abbreviation even, I don't know. They simply have to make the point that this should be the word of the year. And so their speech is going to focus on relating to their audience, speaking to their identity, to really hammer home their message. No need for compromise. It's a discussion, but their message should be the winner. They have a clear goal, and that's what they're going for. And there will be no confrontation if we properly relate to our audience and speak to their identities. So, download the activities. Again, I deeply care about this. I strongly believe in these types of activities to develop communication skills in our students. It develops critical thinking, advanced communication skills. They will have a great advantage practicing these, developing these skills in our sessions. Download the activities and have great sessions with your students. Bye-bye.